Midnight TCG members. This is Midnight Fox coming to you with this week's Competitive Edge podcast. This week we have our great tech guy for our recordings, Jinzaki, and we have Eddie Phoenix with us this week.
Woo! Hi, guys.
We just can't get rid of him.
Nope, you can't.
I keep killing this guy. He keeps returning.
Yep. Bloop. I'll throw grenades at my feet, too.
This week, we're going to continue on our archetype discussion, and we're going to go over another great old archetype that's been around since the beginning of the game. We're going to be going over dragons. So, kind of to start off talking about dragons, we'll go a little bit into the lore as far as where they played into the game.
Blue Eyes White Dragon is OP.
Yes. They date back to the origins of the game, where pretty much most of your support went to spellcasters, warriors, and dragons.
Lord of D and Flute of Summoning Dragon. Do I need to say anything else?
Oh, love that combo.
Everybody loved it, especially once you got on and you saw Kaiba play it out. But
yeah, Blue Eyes has gotten some really good support. I love the Kaiba Man card, the White Stone of Legend, I believe. Good tuner and bring it out. You got your Paladin of White Dragon.
And I think the way Konami looked at it when they originally done it is they were looking at mythical creatures. So, I mean, what better way to play out to players that want to play a TCG game than to look at some of your basic past mythical figures, that being warriors and spellcasters fighting dragons, especially with the way they've kind of went now with the Noble Knights attributing to King Arthur and Camelot. If you look back at it, just overall, looking at the lore of dragons, spellcasters, warriors, there's always a knight fighting a dragon or a spellcaster casting a spell on a dragon. And they had to tie it some way into Egypt, if you watch the original series. And, that's where they come up with the tablets. I don't think there was actually a hieroglyph that looked like a Blue Eyes White Dragon, but they made their own. But
they made it so well that it was just
an ancient Egyptian tomb now and just carve a Blue Eyes White Dragon into a hieroglyph.
Eddie's going to go over to Egypt. He's going to go to the Great Pyramid, and he's going to sculpt it in there for him, make a big stone tablet and put it in there so we can use it to magically summon the Blue Eyes.
Get on it, minion.
I will soon enough. I've got to go find my friend. I can't remember her name right off the top. Well, I can remember her real life name, but I don't think she wanted me to use her real life name. And take her over to Egypt with me.
But it was... as far as that, though, they kind of played it into their Egyptian gods. Ra was actually a real Egyptian god, Obelisk. Slifer, I don't even remember hearing about in Egyptian mythology. But
Slifer, interesting note on him. He's originally Osiris, but when they brought him over here, for whatever reason, they decided not to call him Osiris, and instead named him after an executive producer of the show. I believe his name was Richard Slifer.
They should have left it at Osiris, because, if you're going to pay tribute to the Egyptian culture, and that's where you're going to go with the anime, they should have left it as the originals. Obelisk was represented in Egyptian culture, Ra was the sun god, and Osiris was...
Quick to Google.
Oh, no, I can't. I'm not even going to Google it. But I do know that Osiris was a Egyptian mythical figure back in ninth grade, I probably could have answered that because mythology I aced. Of course,
God of the Afterlife.
there we go. I was thinking that was Anubis.
Um, Time to
I
look up
believe
Anubis.
Anubis was the evil one.
Yeah. I think he was the Lord of the Underworld? No.
He looks like he sits alongside Osiris because it says he's the god of mummification in the afterlife.
Ah, yeah, that was the evil place you went. And Osiris was the good guy. So, I mean, kind of along Christian, like our God and the devil. Osiris and Anubis.
Yes, but see, when it comes to, any kind of other mythology, really, when it comes to any, like, just regular mythology or just, anything that involves gods or anything like that, you really can't put that on cards or anything. So that's the main reason they had to change it for, the card's sake and the cartoon's sake. Because, you got to have those religious overtones.
But
They still had Ra, and they did call them the Egyptian gods, which I'm actually surprised they got away with that one.
I am too. Honestly,
true.
4 kids.
That is true. But
Probably because they had Egyptian in front of it. Just so that parents can go, oh, those are the Egyptian gods. They were heathens. They didn't believe in the God that we believe in.
Yeah. You're an ass.
I am.
well, the lore of dragons, though, within itself, along the way, they've supported them very well. So definitely, when they kicked off the series, warriors, spellcasters, and dragons were 3 archetypes they were going to support well along the game. And Konami, and even when Upper Deck was running it, they have supported it, all 3 of those archetypes, very well. But those were the original big dogs who had major support dating back to LOB.
I do note that the dragons themselves normally didn't play well with each other. Like a lot of cards would have effects that would help out their type, especially among warriors and spellcasters. And with dragons, the most you got for a long time were the mass dragons and troop dragons.
Blue Eyes White Dragon and Paladin of White Dragon was about the only ones who played well together that gave you a big, mean monster.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Red Eyes Black Chick, which built into a Red Eyes Black Dragon, and then the Red Eyes Darkness Dragon.
And then Red Eyes Darkness Metal and Red Eyes Darkness Zombie. I can't remember the zombie one.
Red Eyes Zombie Dragon. It doesn't really count, though. That's just a zombie card.
Red Eyes Wyvern. Everybody's complaining about Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon getting limited, but if you think about it now, if you pick up 3 copies of Red Eyes Wyvern, you're still prepared. You can still recycle that Red Eyes Darkness Metal.
Exactly.
I got
Red Eyes Wyvern.
I need those. I need them.
You're not getting them.
I will beat you up.
You have to find me and shoot. We both know where each other lives.
I'm
Bammy,
getting
bro.
on my motorcycle.
And nobody knows where the fox lives.
Card games on motorcycles.
No, because see, the thing is, we also have a joke when Yusei and Jack get older. It's gonna be card games on segways, or card games in wheelchairs. Something along those lines.
Card games on rascals.
Card games on rascals.
If you look at it, other than Zexel, pretty much along
Why is there
all
an X in Zexel? Because it's extreme.
Why is the X in Zexel? Don't watch it.
Along all of the series they've done, most of the main characters' cards have consisted of some sort of dragons. So they've definitely pushed dragons along through all the series. I mean, one of our favorites, Stardust.
Yeah, I would say it's more warrior, though, because of Utopia and Neos.
Well, that's why I said other than...
Spellcaster, warrior, dragon, warrior.
Other than Zexel,
yeah,
they pretty well had some kind of main character run dragons. Like, In the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, it was Blue Eyes and Red Eyes for Joey, Blue Eyes for Kaiba. When you look at GX, when they evolved the Chaz character, he picked up on Arm Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And when you looked at 5Ds, Stardust Dragon, I mean, they've kind of
And
pushed
Red Dragon
it on the
Archfiend.
way.
Love me some Red Dragon Archfiend.
Oh, he's good.
And you know, when you think about it, kind of look at that, if you look at the artwork, it kind of pays it back to the original Blue Eyes versus Red Eyes. I mean, if you look at the artwork, it's really close to the original guys from the original series, Blue Eyes and Red Eyes.
Now
Yeah,
that you
but you
mention
never
it,
saw Yusei putting Jack in a dog costume.
no, you didn't see that part, but
Woof woof.
Jack had the Red Dragon Archfiend, had the blonde, wicked hair, and then you look at Joey with his, Brooklyn accent,
Brooklyn
and,
Rage.
the Australian accent when it comes to Jack. So, there's some kind of correlation there.
And I mean, even if you look at GX too, like Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Dark Dragon, of course now with Advanced Dark getting released, I look for a few Neos decks to pop up, because I think that's really what Crystal Beasts have been waiting on, is Advanced Dark. I know I personally have been waiting for that card to eventually hit here. But anyways, enough about going over the history of it. We'll get into more, I'm sure, as we move along. We'll kind of list out our favorite dragons. I guess I'll start it. Definitely got to pay tribute to the original. Blue Eyes White Dragon. If there's been a way I can fit him into any deck I run, which hasn't been very often lately, I always tried in the past to find a way to fit him in. So much now I don't put him in, but I always have multiple copies because he's one of my favorite dragons, and I have an unfinished tattoo of him on my wrist. So got to get that finished, but definitely Blue Eyes. He's a classic. Five-headed dragon, of course. I mean, just the pure power of 5,000 attack.
Now, see, you try to give credit to the original dragon, but you forget the OG, the original dragon, the Pettit Dragon.
The Pettit Dragon.
They came out in the same time, Jen. Ha ha.
Five-headed, definitely. I mean, just the power factor of 5,000, and then you couple that with his effect and the ability to be able to destroy him in battle, being that much harder. He was definitely one of my ones I enjoyed more. Prime material, definite, and I look for, within pushing burn with this format, I look for a lot of players to really start looking at prime material again. Plus, with us having 2 Mirror Force, 2 Torrential, Dark Hole, you got to have something to protect. And that brings me to my final one, Stardust. I mean, pretty much if you slap Stardust and prime material into the same deck, you're going to have some good protection. Stardust is going to protect your whole field, your back row and your front row. And prime material's mainly going to be concerned with your front row, but he also has the distinction of, if you run into burn, being able to gain. So chain burn, sorry. So with that, I'll pass it on to Eddie.
My favorite dragon, again, I'm going to agree with you on this one, Fox. I kick it back to the original, the Blue Eyes White Dragon. It was the first deck that I actually picked up was the starter deck Kaiba. I have carried this Blue Eyes White Dragon with me for I got the card as soon as the game came out, pretty much. So back in '96,
It's hard
carried
to
it for.
believe. It's hard to believe that it's actually been around for 16 years.
Yeah, I know. I've carried this card for about 16 years. 16, 17 years. Take it back. 15, 14 years. Somewhere in that range. Recently, back in 2001, I was able to go to MatsuriCon, and I was able to get my original Blue Eyes White Dragon autographed by Eric Stewart. I freaking loved it. It is in my deck. It stays in my deck, and it stays in my sleeve. It is one of my heart cards. I give it that.
Eddie believes in the heart of the cards.
I do, because my second dragon card is one of my more underrated dragon cards, because this card has saved my ass in a pinch plenty of times. It is the Tyrant Dragon. A 2,900 attack point, 27 defense point, 8-star fire monster who cannot be targeted by traps.
You heard it,
And
ladies. Eddie's ass gets pinched.
oh, haha. And if it attacks my opponent's monster, it can't attack again if there's another monster in play. So a double smacker with power that saved my backside plenty of times is always a great thing. And my last dragon that I would have to pick as my top, and to put in my top 3, would have to be Horus the Black Flame Dragon level 8, because, hey, who doesn't like stopping my opponent from using spell cards?
Horus and Jinzo together equal ugly.
Oh, yeah.
Jen, what's yours?
Number one favorite dragon has to be the combination of the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon with the Blackluster Soldier, the good old Dragon Master Knight.
Oh, yeah.
5,000 attack plus at least 1,500 for those, at least 2,000 for those Blue Eyes and Blue Eyes Ultimate, unless you used some fancy graveyard tricks to get them out. So can be up to just a beast card.
It could be up to 7,000 just coming out.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, Horus, level 8. Exploder Dragon for the niftiness of it. Black Rose Dragon. And probably just, yeah, the standard Red Dragon Archfiend.
Which kind of takes us into our next one, Dragon Staples. Jen, you mentioned some very good ones. Black Rose Dragon, anybody who loves synchros, just pure destruction. So feared at one time that it was limited to 1. Now we're back to unlimited. Stardust Dragon, just for the negation. Red Dragon Archfiend, not so much a staple unless you're looking at something to beat down someone, and especially with stall running now and 3 marshmallows and all.
Yeah,
just being able to blow up.
Based deck, you got Barkion. Yum yum.
Yeah.
Barkion, yep, definitely. Other than that, if you're going to run Chaos Dragons now, definitely Red Eyes Wyvern. You're going to want 3 copies of that to run Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. That's the thing that really kills me is people. The deck's dead. The deck's dead. There's always a way to abuse a deck. Just because they get rid of certain cards in it doesn't mean that it's a dead deck. It just means you have to find a new way to run the engine. May not be as reliable as the past, because we all know that Future Fusion was the big part of that engine. Everybody said Red Eyes Darkness Metal, but Future Fusion was the big headache of that.
You guys remember also, Fox, that people are lazy. Another thing that I can say that would help the Dragon deck if they really, really wanted to run it, chain material.
That's true.
For those of you who may or may not know what chain material is, chain material allows you to search from your hand, deck, or graveyard cards that can be used for a fusion for this turn. It's kind of like it's not the exact wording, but it's the general wording. So, yeah.
Now, when you say any deck can be broken, though, I have a challenge now. Aitsu, Koitsu, Soitsu, and Doitsu.
Oh, gosh.
Done.
Yeah.
I will have a friend build it.
And then, kind of to round off mine, I'm definitely saying that this format, with all the destruction available, and with all the burn that's probably going to be pushed with level limit at 3, magic cylinder at 3, I'm pretty sure prime material will become a staple this format. I really look for it to. I mean, 2 Mirror Force, just all the destruction, all the ability to burn. I think Chain Burn's going to probably be one of the top decks right now with 3 magic cylinder alone, not to mention all of the stall available. I mean, yeah, they kind of balanced it out, trying to push Xyz monsters and their ranks so they can get around level limit and gravity bind. But then they give us 3 magic cylinders. They give us 2 Mirror Force, 2 Torrential. I look for prime material to become a staple this format. So with that, pass it on to you again, Eddie. What's your staples?
My staples are Stardust Dragon for its negation effect, including like using Starlight Road for it. I mean, sure, I can only kick it off one time, but if I sync with it, like with my deck that I'm using right now, with my macro wings, I'm able to sync with it real quick, real easy. Red Dragon Archfiend, if I want to be like a really, really big douche and just Swords of Concealing Light, and then I'll go and sync for Red Dragon Archfiend and then just wipe your entire field. Black Rose, just blow everything up. I want to say Leviair if you use him right, because that little remove from play ability to be able to bring a card back. Say, like, if you wanted to run Rabbit, just, it gets removed from play, and then you just deattach one material, bring Rabbit back, and then just kick its effect off and go.
Hey, Eddie.
That's an Aqua monster.
Huh?
Leviair's an Aqua.
Oops. Excuse me, I'm a dumbass. Let me go on a tangent, don't stop me, and then hey, you dumbass, everybody, just remember that.
We just figured we'd let you go on about it for a few minutes.
Yeah, just let everybody know, hey, Eddie's a dumbass. See, this is how much I paid to the little XYZ monsters. But anyway, now that we're not using that, you can still use 5-headed dragon. You can, if you really, really want to, you can start using the prime material. I don't know how many people are actually going to use it, so that's up to me. So anyway, I'll stop rambling now so I don't keep making myself sound like a freaking moron.
We'll pass it on to Jen.
I pretty much can't say anything that hasn't been said. You got your Red Eyes Darkness Metal powered up with get it back with some Red Eyes Wyverns. Your Stardust, because who doesn't run Stardust? And Prime Material. Yeah, just whatever build you're going for, those are probably going to be what you include. Again, I believe Exploder Dragon is a pretty good staple dragon, because your opponent tries to shut down your magic or traps through a monster and you can just blow it up.
And on a side note, another good thing about Exploder is when he's attacked, you can't take any damage. So if they got a Piercer, you could still have it out in defense and take no damage. You can have it in attack and take no damage.
Yeah, there's one thing there was one monster I was trying to remember. Let me bring him up. Read his effect. Yeah, Hieratic Dragon of Gebeb I was looking at as a good card for bringing out some nice high power monsters. For comboing, at least. Like, I use it when making my friend's Red Eyes Darkness Dragon deck so that he could bring this out, destroy something, get Red Eyes Dragon back from the graveyard, and then sacrifice it off for Darkness Metal. So yeah, good combo card.
Which kind of takes us into Broken Dragons. I'd say, well, he just hit the ban list. Sort of broken. Brionic. Definitely the ability. Is he?
He's a sea serpent.
Oh, look, Eddie, you're not the only one, but Jen stopped me before I got too far into my rant on it.
Dicks!
But, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End, definitely a broken dragon, hence why he still sits on the ban list. Sad Fox, definitely would love to see Chaos Emperor Dragon back at least for one format. People have went away from it, but if you built the right deck, like I said, kind of combo a Horus build into a Jinzo build.
Oh my god.
Horus and Jinzo with 3 Royal Decrees could be basically a complete shutdown deck.
Horus is big stopper. If you really want to stop him and you want to be able to use your spell cards again, is if you're running a hero build, of course, super polymerization. But if you just really want to get around him, and hell, you may be running a dragon deck, just, or just any kind of deck that you may just want to splash 5-headed in.
I'm going to say, broken-wise, still playable, and I don't see him run anymore, but 2 of your most powerful monsters were pushed in the Synchro era, are Stardust and Black Rose.
Yes, those are the 2 most broken ones that at least I was going to mention those in my little tangent.
Destruction and negate.
I'd say if you can make him fast enough, shooting Quasar really broken. Dragon.
Yes. He is a beast once he
is
gets
a game winner. He hits the field, scoop. Time to scoop.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as my broken dragons, definitely give a shout out to the beginning, Chaos Emperor, Invasion of Chaos, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End. Love to see him come back for a format, but him, Black Rose, Stardust, and I really think right now, Prime Material could be a prime candidate. When he first came out, he was definitely a broken dragon because that was a huge chain burn era. So Prime Material saw a lot of play. So with them kind of pushing it more, I think he could be a really broken card. And with that, I'll pass it on to Eddie.
Again, it's one of those, I'm saying Stardust and Black Rose, because Stardust is rather hard to get around when you start trying to throw out destruction. Going to go with Red Eyes Darkness Metal because it's been limited because of its playability of I drop a dragon, remove it from play, drop him, pull a dragon from my hand or graveyard. A lot of people wanted to see 5-headed dragon hit because of Future Vision being so powerful, but Future Vision was the one that got hit. Kind of sad for Cyber Dragon decks, but eh. Horus is my last one because of its stop all spell abilities. So, Jen, you're up.
I'm going to go with one that could have been potentially broken first off. Remember when we first got Tour Guide and people were looking at the Tour Guide into Leviathan Dragon combo with Sangan, but that was sadly never to be. I obviously said shoot. I'm not gonna. I agree with what you guys have said, so I'm gonna add on to it. Obviously, shooting Quasar Dragon, as I said, and if you could play it right, Red Nova Dragon. Really
Mm-hmm.
You know,
powerful
when you
dragon.
go on Leviathan, though, not so bad on that if you run the tour guide tour bus, because then you drop the guide first and you recycle it with tour bus.
And then you've got a 2500 beat stick, not necessarily broken, but a good opening play.
Definitely.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, that's my addition: shooting Quasar and Red Nova, two dragons that just once they hit the field, good game. Not much.
Now, for those listeners who like to play in our Flash tournaments, I guess you guys can see where next week's is going to go. But as I say, Fox always throws a twist. You don't know what twist I'm going to throw into it, but I'm pretty sure most of you got a good idea of what Tuesdays is going to be.
Batteryman.
We'll finish it up with best dragon deck, past or present. I'm going to say my favorite one was back in the Soul Control era. And I used to run an Armed Dragon Prime Material when it first came out. A deck built around that. And I would fuse into my 5 Hit really quick. And then I would let my opponent take it. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Curse of Anubis, I think is what I used to run with it. Oh, I got to double check and make sure.
No more foot and mouth?
Well, there was a combo I used to do with it. No, that's the wrong one. It's the one where they take your monster and you destroy it yourself and you do damage to them equal to its points. So I would definitely go into my Armed Dragon. I'd get out a 5-headed dragon. I'd let my opponent take it because I was just going to blow it up and deal 5,000 damage to him anyways. So definitely one of my most broken. And when I play against people, they eventually stopped trying to take my 5-headed dragon because they knew when I brought him out, I had something in the back row nasty waiting for them. So we'll pass that on to Eddie from there.
My best build was right before this ban list hit. It was my Chaos Dragons. It ran Lights and Darks along with Horus. Some people would say it would be more along the lines of Disaster Dragon. So I really don't know, really don't care. But, you know, for me, dragons have always been a mainstay, and they've been really close to my heart. Now I've got to find a way to rebuild them and retool them to actually make them to where they can actually run in this current meta. So, Jen, I pass it to you.
I haven't made a build in a while. My last one was a Red Eyes build that focused on the using darkness metal to have fun with the various Red Eyes decoy dragon to have a little bit of extra fun. Build a King Dragoon if possible to have even more fun. And one of my favorites was Kaiser Glider. Because of most of the big utility cards being, especially Monarchs, being of 2400 attack. Just get a Kaiser Glider out and start crashing through them.
definitely sounds like an interesting deck. So, I guess kind of winding out everything on dragons. Uh, Definitely take a look back at the type. Don't just think that Chaos Dragons are the only way to go. Definitely have a look. They've been around for forever. There's plenty of dragons out there, plenty of ways to support them. So look at your own build. I would definitely suggest right now looking at a Horus and Jinzo build. I'm really thinking of going through my cards and trying to build that because I think it could be a quite interesting deck if built right. But just on a final note, want to remind everybody this month, September, we are having the Deck of the Month contest. It is themed, and everything in your main deck and side deck has to be wind monsters. Your extra deck can contain non-wind monsters, but main deck, side deck has to be wind. Want to thank eRoll J. They're sending us some prizes, which I'll be setting up contests for. As soon as I receive them, I'll start figuring out what kind of contests we're going to run for them. Congratulations to Jen. He did move up as our global moderator. And just really have a look throughout the board. There's lots of new stuff, a little bit of new structure made to the board. Definitely look all over it, and you might find some new stuff you never saw before. So this is Midnight Fox sending out the Competitive Edge podcast. Y'all have a nice night.